Before you start watching, please subscribe to my channel, I would be very pleased. In the depths of the forest stood an old abandoned school that cast a shadow of its dark past over the town. The locals never spoke of it aloud, and the word school sent shivers down their spines. However, those who dared to enter inside became witnesses to horrors that seemed unimaginable and incomprehensible. The story begins with a group of students who decided to test the legends and rumors surrounding the school for themselves. Armed with flashlights and smartphones, these brave souls ventured into the abandoned building. Their footsteps echoed loudly through the empty corridors, and their voices reverberated off the crumbling walls. At first, everything seemed calm. They explored the old classrooms, where dust lay thick on the desks, and the boards bore the last writings of students who had studied there decades ago. But as the group progressed, they began to notice something strange. Soon, they heard whispers and muffled footsteps emanating from the depths of the corridors, even though there should have been no one else in the building besides them. Shadows started to move in sync with their own movements, yet no figures were visible. Their hearts raced with fear, but they decided to press on. In one of the rooms, they discovered the diary of a missing girl, her name scratched onto the cover. The horrifying entries revealed the story of a malevolent teacher who used his power to subjugate the students. He tormented them, punishing those who did not comply with his cruel rules. Continuing their exploration, the group heard a distant sound of metal, a grating noise that penetrated the depths of their souls. They followed the sound and discovered a secret underground chamber. Inside, they found horrifying torture devices, gallows, and ominous drawings on the walls. They realized that the teacher had turned the school into his personal dungeon, tormenting his victims within these walls. When the group decided to return, they realized that their path was blocked. Doors that had been open before now stood closed and locked. They felt the air grow dense, and the walls began to shift, constricting their space. Panic gripped each one of them. In their desperation, they tried to find another way out, but the walls seemed infinite and labyrinthine. As time passed, the students started disappearing one by one, vanishing into thin air. Those who remained understood that they had become prisoners of the entity of malevolence that still resided in this dark place. With each passing minute, the pressure and fear became unbearable. Sinister laughter echoed through the halls, and the walls wrote pre-death messages in bloody letters. The remaining students realized that they had become captives of this school, captives of their own fear. No one knows what happened to that group of students. Some say they still wander the dark halls of the school, suffering unbearable torment and searching for an exit that will never be found. The abandoned school remains a grim reminder of a past thirsting for blood, continuing to curse anyone who dares to enter its hidden chambers. However, for several years after the disappearance of the group of students, some brave adventurers dared to venture into the abandoned school. Each of them hoped to unravel the mystery of the vanished and find a path to freedom. One of these daredevils, let's call him Jacob, became intrigued by this enigmatic school through his research on paranormal phenomena. He was convinced that this abandoned school held something greater than just the story of a cruel teacher. Jacob armed himself with cameras and recording equipment to capture any evidence of supernatural events. He entered the school and began following in the footsteps of the missing students. Right from the start, he felt a growing aura of malevolence that enveloped every corner of the school. Footsteps and whispers became his constant companions. All of this only confirmed that this school was a living nightmare. Jacob explored various classrooms and rooms, documenting every detail. But as he progressed, he began to notice that objects in the school were shifting their positions. Doors opened and closed on their own, and furniture moved without any visible cause. Every time he turned around, something disappeared from his field of vision, as if an invisible force was playing games with him. One day, Jacob discovered a hidden door in the basement. He instinctively felt that the key to the school's mystery lay behind it. He descended and found himself in a vast underground space filled with ruined artifacts and ominous symbols. As Jacob ventured deeper into the basement, dark figures surrounded him, emitting indistinct whispers and raspy laughter. A sense of danger and horror permeated every fiber of his being. He realized that he had awakened an entity that had cursed the school and was now attempting to seize him. Jacob tried to escape from the basement, but the doors closed in front of him and the walls began to move, compressing the space around him. Shadows came alive and pursued him, writhing through the corridors and hindering his search for an exit. With each passing second, Jacob lost more hope of salvation. He understood that the abandoned school was devouring him alive, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. Memories of the vanished students who suffered here flashed through his mind, their souls disappearing in this dark, cursed place. In the last moment, when Jacob was ready to accept his fate, he discovered a tiny opening in the wall. Without hesitation, he squeezed through it, but the menacing shadows continued to chase his heels. Jacob fled from the abandoned school, overwhelmed by profound fear and exhaustion. He realized that this school was saturated with malevolence, an experience that would forever remain etched in his memory. Since then, Jacob never attempted to return to this school. He did everything in his power to warn anyone who would listen so that no one else would fall prey to the dangers this cursed school held. The abandoned school became permanently engraved in his heart as a place where darkness and horror intertwined, and anyone who entered its embrace became a captive of an unforgiving nightmare.